can scoot up.
No, you don't have to move. This is just a temporary shot because I don't
Oh, okay.
know why it won't let me do anything to this shot. So this is just till we get TDK back in. Oh, there we go. Give me a second. I can fix you up. That's what you do when it comes to television. Oh man. What is up? What is up? What is up? In TV, Black Filmmakers Lounge, VIP sections. Where's everybody at? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, I guess what we can do is go ahead and drop it in for right this moment. Let's do what we do. What we do. And it goes a little something like this. Hey, welcome to the Saturday morning Indie Industry Shop Talk. I'm your host, Michael Melvin, my co-host, Myra TK Henderson, and Jacoby Simmons. And we're sitting here at the Black Filmmakers Lounge because it brings you the Saturday morning Indie Industry Shop Talk. The Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, world of knowledge, and professionals come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black interdependent film community. Welcome to the show. What's up, Jacoby? How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing beautiful, man. You know what I mean? I'm having a ball.
Well, it's been a long week for me. Still looking for a car, a vehicle, and I end up with look. We had a day off on Tuesday for voting, and I ended up getting gout. Woke up with gout.
Isn't that from eating a lot of meat, man?
Protein. No Diddy, but
yeah.
Basically, sorry, we just being silly. Yeah, it depends if I eat a lot of salmon or shrimp, crab or something, uric acid. So I got back to because I normally drink like turmeric and tart cherry juice and cranberry and other stuff. So I hadn't been drinking that for a minute. And usually I put lemon and lime in my water to alkaline it. And that helps with keeping that uric acid down. But I didn't do that either. So I had to get, every time, sometimes you get comfortable and then you lose your routine because you're comfortable. And you forget there's a reason you have a routine and there's something to always remind you of why you have a routine. Well, that was my reminder. Like,
uncomfortable reminder at that.
Yeah, because I had plans. I was like, I had plans today. And like my wife was like, I guess not, because you can barely get out of bed. Yeah, I limp when I'm at work and stuff. I'm like,
wives are the worst though, because they know you know better. And their sarcasm is so shady. Right? Their sarcasm is for real.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm already dealt with the car accident stuff, the pain from that and stuff like that, the whiplash. So I'm like, man, I'm like, can I get a break? But I caused that one on me.
So I got a question.
Uh-huh.
What have you really been watching this week?
This week, brother, I watched Madam Web.
Okay.
And X-Men 97. And some YouTube stuff, like, reviews on YouTube and all that. Like I've actually spent a lot of time on YouTube.
Yeah. So for me, I've watched the same things, except I watched Will Trent. I really like Will Trent.
I got to get back into it. I saw like 2 episodes and I was like, yo, I need to be watching this.
Yeah, I love Will Trent. And I watched Madam Web this morning, actually. And oh no, you know what I watched? Shucks. I just watched it last night. I had to turn it off a little bit. It was shucks, what was it? I can't even. Now I'm frustrated because I
Thaddeus
can't
said he
remember what
got
it
Will
was.
Trent in X-Men 97 too.
Yeah.
Good
But it
morning,
was
Renita.
another show that I watched this morning. It was a documentary. I got up early, and it was about oh no, the story. What's the guy? Um, he was a writer, and TK watched it already. With Jeffrey. I can't even think of the name, but it had Issa Rae in it. The guy that played in he plays in a whole bunch of stuff. Hunger Games. He's the voice of the Watcher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um,
It says you got
he's in.
yourself muted, TK. By the way.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. He was about. He was writing. He was a writer who wrote these things that were supposed to be colorless.
mm-hmm.
TK knows what it is. He was writing, and it was
Oh,
American
American
Fiction. Yeah,
Fiction. Yeah, I saw it. We all saw that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't until this morning,
Oh, you so far
and
behind?
yeah, I loved it. And he talked about a lot of things. Like the movie put out a lot of things where you're kind of stuck at this point. What is what, and what do people want to see? But they made one point that I thought was good. We all sit here and think about being an artist, and take ourselves extremely seriously.
Mm-hmm.
When a lot of times people just want the easy. They just want something easy to digest. They don't want the think pieces. They don't want the Spike Lee movie or all the stuff. They just want something easy to digest. And a lot of times it's black culture. He pulled out. He said, "Here's a bottle of." He said, "I got what liquor? It was whiskey. It was a scotch." So he pulled out Johnny Walker. He said, "You got
Yeah.
Johnny Walker red, Johnny Walker black, and Johnny Walker blue, right?"
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he
Oh
showed them the
yeah.
bottles, and the red was they had drank more of the red. You remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
That was profound for me, because as a creator, sometimes everybody doesn't want to think about your art. When they look at it, they don't want to have to figure out the meaning of the pedal that was sitting on the bed. Everybody doesn't. Sometimes they just want something simple to digest. So that was just profound to me as an artist, and thinking about me being a creator.
Yeah, I think we do get caught up with that. TK, you're still muted, just to let you know. Um, she's having little technical difficulties where she is because she's been out of town for a minute. But as creatives, we have to decide. I think that's what it comes down to, right?
Well,
You decide, what do you want to create, or why do you want to create? This is why
yeah.
I have this poignant question I keep asking everybody who talk about they want to make a film. Why? Is it for the money? Because there's money. Everybody doesn't really get. It's a normal 9 to 5 job with just some more hours you work in. It is, everybody don't make millions. It's like the rap game. I tell them, everybody don't make millions. Like, it doesn't. That's the illusion to get you into some of these careers. But most people they enjoy what they're doing, so they stay in it because that's what they like doing. But they work like everybody else, and they also have to plan their money better because of such. Oh, here we go. TK's in. Boom. There we go.
Good morning. Sorry, I have been working on this for the last almost 25 minutes. I don't know what happened with the internet.
Oh, you good? You good? You're here now.
Good morning.
So as we're talking, I'm just doing minor adjustments for you, TK. There we go. Is that good for you? All right. Mm-hmm. So we got the family crew right here. But I think that's the problem in our art, right? We don't decide. Some people haven't made up in their head why they're really doing it, or they don't want to be honest. Like, if you really want to make it, if you're really trying to do it for the money, you got to understand money. Like, and you're going to make stuff that isn't necessarily for your audience, or is for a particular audience to get money. Yeah. And
Thaddeus said, so I also agree with what Thaddeus pointed out. He said the masterpiece move is if you can make both. If you can make something easy to digest and be an artistic masterpiece.
Well, okay, so what movies have been easy? We're gonna throw this out to everybody because we
So
talking.
in some senses, you can look at what is it, Scarface,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
You can look at Star Wars.
And you know what? And because I often tell people about Star Wars. I'm like, yo, it's nothing but the hero's journey to the T. Like
Yeah.
it's so easy to follow. Actually, the first Star Wars movie is such the hero's journey. It is actually boring after you watch it 2 times, or maybe 2 or 3 times. I prefer. I don't know what just happened there. Is that you, TK?
What? I'm here.
Oh, somebody. I heard
Her
a
mic.
thing pop in. Your mic or something picked up. Is that vacuum cleaner
No,
or something?
no. Hold on one second. No, keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
I know what it
So
is.
so like Empire Strikes Back to me is the best Star Wars film work, right?
Yeah.
I watch Empire Strikes Back all the time. But it's like some things are just going to be predictable. Like this industry in itself is just predictable regardless.
Well, I think it's predictable for us most of the time. But the thing that I would agree, Star Wars especially, is every Star Wars movie is about somebody with a bad dad, or what do you call it when the parents are gone or dead?
Epic's complex.
Yeah, like it's somebody with a bad dad, or somebody parents died or got killed, and they're or orphan. It's always an orphan, right? Who thinks lowly of itself, and
but
then all of a sudden
every
comes
superhero movie, every hero movie. Superman's an orphan, Batman's an orphan, Luke Skywalker's an orphan, Harry Potter's an orphan. Like Bambi's an orphan. Like when you really think about it, there's that hero's journey. If you think about it, he's not an orphan, but if you go back to Clash of the Titans, classic hero's journey, right? Mm-hmm. His father is Zeus, though, but he can't really help him. Yeah.
Why dad's got to always be the bearer of bad circumstances?
That's the American way. Look, Renetta said Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Look, I think that's American writing. I think that when I look
would you call that a classic?
What, Guardians of the Galaxy or the storyline?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know if it's a classic to me.
See, and that's why, like, when getting back to what Thaddeus said, I think like Scarface is a classic, not just because of the journey, but also how it was told, the little things in it. You know what I mean? And so that's the one, like we're talking about, was easy to digest but was simple. I mean, it was easy to digest but was a masterpiece in storytelling. What's one you think is a masterpiece, right? Was simple to digest but had amazing storytelling. Shawshank Redemption, yes. I love that one.
Actually, you know what? That's a hard place for me because of the types of stuff I like, right? I like variable things for different reasons. It's like Purple Rain's one of my favorite films, but technically Prince would be a villain because he hit his girl. Like, when you stop to think about it, but he was taking on the behavior he was seeing in his mother and father's relationship and needed to overcome that. But would you call
Purple Rain a classic?
For me, it is. Like, that's the thing. For me, it is. Under the Cherry Moon might be. I like Prince. Prince, the music and stuff.
Mike,
but then again, no.
Hold on, Mike. Was that a classic in filmmaking?
But see, then hold on. Everybody's different. That's why I said we have.
No, but we're talking about. Let me go back. I have to bring it
as
back.
A classic. Hold on, but filmmaking as a classic, like I look at movies like a West Side Story.
But what we're talking about is what that comedy said. What was easy to digest, like that cheap Johnny Walker, but was masterfully made, like the expensive. Right? I get you because print, like I have those things that I watch that are like so I watch Tyler Perry's House of Pain. Right? Mm-hmm. That is my cheap Johnny Walker. I like it and I'm going to stick to it, right? but it wouldn't be my Johnny Walker Blue.
Mm-hmm.
But what are those things? And that's what we're talking. That's what we were thinking about.
So my
What are
thing
those
would be
things that would be
masterfully.
easy to digest, but masterfully done?
I would.
That's why I like when he was talking about Shawshank, right?
Right. It would have to be like a Malcolm X.
Okay.
But see, I like biopics. If you can make, if you
I'm gonna give
can
one
tell
people
somebody's
probably won't
story,
watch.
huh?
Avatar: The Airbender, the cartoon series.
Okay, yeah, but it's deep. It still has depth.
Yeah, but it was easy to digest. That's the part
Right.
of we saying. It has all those things, but if you watch it, you instantly can get wrapped up into it, right? But and then absorb everything instead of having to be like, well, Dag, Appa was really a representation of the government. And see, so you don't have to really think that deep. You know, when you watch the things and the Hunt for Red October, please people join in and comment if you don't or if I'm going in the wrong direction. But things that give you what you want sometimes in a lazy film, but are masterpieces in storytelling and filmmaking, right? And I can agree, like, even if you said like to me, I don't do the right thing was cool and it was borderline, but I don't know if it was a masterpiece to me.
Okay.
It might be a classic though. It's definitely a classic. All right. Trying to think. What
So
other movie?
mine would be like Coolie High. To me, is a classic, but it's
Yeah.
also a well-told story, right? Because
Yeah.
it has the
Mm-hmm.
friendship time period. It actually it is like the perfect meld of creation because it's the music, it's the story being told, it's the actors that are involved, um, it's timepiece and setting, and I mean, you could watch it today. Somebody be like, I never knew this existed, and they get into it because it's just that great of a story.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
but
The
it
Wire.
tugs at your heart. It makes you laugh and cry.
Yeah. The Wire.
Okay.
Right. But so like that. So being an artist, sometimes you got to find those because sometimes you might in the film business you might have to do all the cheap Johnny Walkers so you could do your own. Because think about it. What did Coppola do this weekend? Coppola sold his vineyard so he could finance that movie. With that movie Megala, what's it called?
I don't know
Megalopolis.
the $120 million thing that they said they don't know. Everybody's like mixed reviews about because they don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. But
But
he
Yeah.
did.
so he's to make the masterpiece he's built up to do. He's
Yeah.
selling off something to show you the value of his work for his masterpiece, right?
Well, I didn't call it that a masterpiece. I'm just saying he did all of the think that he could make his what he thinks is going to be his artistic coup de grace. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
sometimes what I'm saying is sometimes you got to do some of the Johnny Walker Blacks and Johnny Walker Reds to make your Johnny Walker Blue. Because if you don't sell enough Johnny Walker Blacks, you won't be able to be sitting there to argue with your Johnny Walker Blue.
So that's it. But listen to what you just said. That's a good point. Like sometimes you got to make the decent cheap films to garner the audience to have the finances to fund the major projects that you have. And I think as filmmakers, we're all on independent filmmakers and I guess filmmakers, we're constantly on. I got to make the big project. I got to make the money project. I gotta. And you. It's like I told somebody the other day. I said people be wanting to make these major films for $1 million. They ain't made a film for $500 or 5,000 or 50,000. And when you look at Ava DuVernay, she did her first film. Actually, did 2 films at 50 grand.
Yeah, but what about even this, right? Sometimes, like, I'm shooting this short, and we're going to create some other things, but I might have to shoot a commercial that I don't like, right? I might have to shoot a music video, to build my resume. I'm gonna have to do all these other things so that I can acquire the money to make my films. Because I'm pretty sure if somebody asked TK to write a commercial, she'd write it if it's gonna help finance whatever she got going on. Am I right, TK?
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we got to think broader than just making a small movie. Sometimes we got to create, because we're creators, and sometimes you got to create those other things you might not like or want to make that everywhere, everything, all at once.
I still haven't seen that. I'm so like, it looks it looks like something I wouldn't watch
Oh
every
no,
time I
that's a
see
good
it.
movie. That is
I
a
know
good movie.
everybody. I know everybody said it. Of course, awards don't matter,
TK, you're
but
not
everybody
alone.
said
I
it.
had been sitting down planning to watch it, and I didn't. And every time I'm like, hey, I gotta watch this. Because it all deals with the multiverse, which is trends, which takes us to following trends, right? So let's go to following trends. Here it is, a slew of movies, whether it's science fiction, dramas, they're starting to deal with, like, the biggest trend right now is the multiverse. Whether it's a Star Wars thing, whether it's a Marvel, DC, everything all at once, whether it's Counterpart.
I didn't see that.
Okay, it's a TV show. I think it's Showtime and Stars or Showtime. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I have too many streaming services, which I'm gonna be cutting back. But there's a gateway between two realities of Earth, two universes of Earth, and in that your personality could be flipped. Like one, you're cynical, the other one you're nice to people, different things. And this gateway has been open, and then we've been traveling between. And the premises of the story is one universe suffered a major virus, kind of like COVID, and it killed off millions of people, like hundreds of millions of people. And they blame the other universe for it happening. And so it becomes the espionage spy thing. So I don't know what happened to TK, but she'll be back. There we go. So it's one of those things. Jake, Whiplash and Invincible. He's the, I remember his name, J.K. It's not J.K. Rollins. Simmons. There we go. J.K. Simmons. So he's the main character, and actually he's in another show that it got canceled. That he and his wife had the keys to an alien world, and you could travel around Earth. Like it's like, thank you, J.K. Simmons. But so it's one of those things. The multiverse and universal travel is a big thing in Hollywood and storytelling right now. Even when I talked about the movie Parallel, right? That they're staying in a cabin in the woods. You go out to the woods and you can get lost because there's a gateway in the woods taking you to parallel universes, and where you either are, or, a version of you, and they're traveling between the gate. So it's like, that is the biggest trend right now, is this multiverse.
Didn't Jordan Peele do that too?
Us?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Us reminded me, I thought he got it from either Outer Limits or a Twilight Zone episode. The same thing. But yeah. Same thing. But I'm saying that's become this big thing. It wasn't like, were we all really talk about multiverses so much? No, we're doing it more now. Like everybody's talking about it, because almost any sci-fi or any TV show, anything there's some sort of connection in them. So that's a trend. And it's like, when Any Given Sunday came out, you had all these football movies coming out. You had Remember the Giants. You had all, that was another trend. So you're saying it's more classism.
He's talking about Us.
Yeah, Us. Oh, Us is about classism. But it's still, because it was about cloning. Yeah, Us was about cloning. They were clones. Or supposedly something. It was something about it. They were like
something.
They were tethered. I mean, I remember the connection they had to the actual person. So it's one of those things, but like we got to look at trends, right? In business, if you're making a film, what's the trend, right? Um, what our filmmakers, independent filmmakers, need to decide. I know this morning we all kind of went back and forth talking about platforms and understanding what CTV is and OTT is, and breaking it down that 60% of people have been cutting back on their streaming services because there's way too many streaming platforms, and you got us independents coming out with a bunch of streaming platforms. And like I said earlier this year, the first thing I told everybody, don't come out with a bunch of them. Combine yourselves and make one good one, because people cutting back. But you're seeing the rise of Tubi, because Tubi's free. It's free access television
for now.
No, they said they'll never change the free model because they sell commercial. They're selling ads just like regular TV. Oh, okay. And they've been increasing, because here's the thing, all the ones you're paying for are now going to ads. The only one that we paid for originally that was ad based from the jump was Hulu. Right?
YouTube TV.
Huh?
YouTube TV had ads.
But YouTube, we got YouTube for free. Some people weren't. You can watch movies that you normally see on YouTube for free right now.
No, I'm talking about YouTube TV.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, you remember YouTube's initial introduction is free, and it still has their free model, and you can still watch movies on YouTube for free.
No, not on YouTube TV.
What do you mean by YouTube TV though? Because like
it's a separate service like Hulu and like all those other things. Okay.
So I don't.
And I watch it like regular TV.
But because I can go log on to YouTube on my TV, I can go watch a movie.
Yeah, I can log on to YouTube that's what I'm saying. On my TV, but it's a separate thing.
It's a different service.
No, I got you on that. I get you on that. I get that part. But what I'm saying is, it's kind of like one of those things is, I think streaming services are going to have to either tremendously start cutting back in the way of, because their prices have been doing nothing but steadily increasing. Now they're offering commercials at the original price they came out with, or a little bit higher. Well, why do I need you if I can go watch? I'll just wait until it's on TV, or I'm just going to get it on iTunes or something and buy it and watch it.
Yeah, like, well, I think and is a few things. One, trends. It's understanding the trend, but also understanding the technology behind it. Right. And so as you analyze these platforms, some people are been paying for a platform or a streaming service only while their stuff is on that they want to watch. Right. So they'll wait till the show is over. They'll purchase it for a month and they'll stream it. And so I think what you're getting to, and I'm gonna come back to that, is people are first, the first part of the trend was everybody getting all the services that had their stuff on it. Now people are being more strategic and understanding, because cable is done. I think cable is done. And the only way they're keeping people there for right now is because they're using it for internet service. It's hard to separate sometimes. They give you the cheaper package.
Good deal.
For internet service. Right? And it's cheaper than just having the internet by itself. So that's the only reason I haven't even really used the regular TV service. I have it like 20 channels, but why use it? And so, like you said, as creators, we need to focus on what's going to give us the biggest bang for our buck and the best opportunity with the easiest way to get on.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because when we start looking at, I mean, even every one of us, from season to new to somewhere in the middle, they're still looking at distribution, and mostly everybody's distribution has pointed to using some streaming platform, right? And the problem is, it's kind of like one of those things like, hey, I'm going to put my web series on this platform, this platform, this platform, this platform. And your web series on so many, a streaming series, I don't want to say web series, streaming series is on so many different platforms that you're giving people too many options. And sometimes that's the mistake in business. Like I learned, you don't want to give people too many options. You want to give them maybe one or two, maybe 3 options, and that's it. Once you get too many options, you run the problem of losing the audience. Right?
Or undersaturation because
Yeah.
you didn't spread your audience out and they're not connecting and you're not getting enough streams on any service to make money.
Because who are the top streaming services right now?
Well, I would say Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon.
Netflix is right. Netflix is technically the top streaming service, but overall streaming, like social media, everything, YouTube, Netflix. You see what just happened? Hulu comes in like third, but it's Hulu and now Disney Plus neck and neck because they're the same service.
Yeah, they own it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what was the move that happened last week?
Which one?
With Disney and Hulu and another streaming service.
Oh, they added another one?
They added another one.
Which one?
Max.
They bought Max?
They ain't buy Max. They have a partnership where you can get to Max through Disney Plus.
Oh, well, they're about to.
But
they got
I'm saying
DC about to go through it.
Yeah.
Because that's Warner Brothers.
Exactly.
Oh, DC about to have problems.
But that's what I'm saying. What does that change that now I can access Max through Disney Plus and Hulu with them? What does that do? You know, and as a creator, why is that important to me?
Well, here's the thing. So Disney Plus is interesting to me because you can purchase Disney Plus. There's a package for Disney Plus, and Thaddeus is right, access. But you got Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu all for one price, and that's what I had.
Yeah, ESPN, all yeah.
Yeah, and
I
so
get $10 through Verizon, all of it, $10.
Yeah. I get I forgot how much it was through Verizon. I have it through Verizon. It was free, and then they changed it, but I think it's just a few dollars or something.
Yeah, I don't have Verizon. I ain't playing with them.
I get discounts. Teachers.
Oh.
Get the government discount. Teachers get that government. We actually get a better discount than government. I think it's like 25%.
Oh wow.
I got T-Mobile. My wife got me, hold me down. But you have that's interesting because now you have to look at some of the ones that are consolidating because DC always had a problem. They started their own streaming service, then they went to Max, and they only had a few things on Max, and now it's everything.
See what that is saying? Strategic partnerships, and we should be doing that more. That's what that's what we're not thinking about as independents, right? We're not. You got to strategize, and that's why I say you got to ask yourself, why are you making films? Is it for the fun of it? Is it just you want to do your first masterpiece and jet out, or is this your career because it's business? Career is business, like.
But I don't think most people.
Career.
I'm wondering that most people don't think of it when they first get in there. They want to make movies. They don't understand it being a career. It is an idea of something they want to do. That sometimes they don't realize how large it is. So the thing is, I just want to make movies and tell stories, right? And I'm speaking from first person experience until I started making movies, right? Then you got to figure out all the other things or where you want to go. Because I think a lot of us who started out, like I'm not formally trained in any aspect. Well, until now, that's another story. But I wasn't formally trained, and when I got into the game, I didn't understand any yet funding, how to write a one pager, anything. And so now, as we get in, it's so many of these filmmakers, since the equipment and access to making films is so low, I think there's a large learning gap that we have to share. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that's the thing we get back to. They don't know what they don't know. Right. Like, and as I'm learning, and even as I'm learning and navigating, I've seen, like, honestly, making a full movie, like a feature, is no longer like really a main focus. Will I? Possibly. Because content, because filmmaking now, we'll get back to 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 what the word you were using, trends, is that it's content. Let's look at, if you look at filmmaking as content
Mhm.
creation, and a film is content, there are so many other avenues to create some dope content that doesn't have to be a Hollywood film, right? And when you talk about Tubi, when you talk about these TV shows, all these businesses need content. Look at some of these dope commercials. Like, there's a lot of ways to tell narrative things that don't have to be 90 minutes long, and you can still do dope stuff. You look at Netflix, like, you got documentaries, Amazon Prime, they're buying documentaries and these stories, and these production companies that are coming up, and there's even more local ones. And as a creator, I'm going to tell stories. I do want to tell Black stories, but I'm
Mhm.
looking at, where am I going to have the most fun and still make money?
Mhm.
You know.
And I
And Thaddeus said it right. I know where I'm leveraging my skill,
there you go. Yeah.
right? But people don't, as they're building a skill, they don't even know. Like, if you're an electrician, there's a job in movies, right? Like,
And that's what we need to
Absolutely.
always be talking about
and
is
then
what's
here
out there for everybody.
and here's another thing,
Exactly.
that my niece was working in New York, and she said people don't really realize that the film industry is not full of artists. It's full of, she said, middle-aged white men doing regular jobs, right?
Mhm.
The electricians, the people moving the C stands, the people moving equipment, the people
Mm-hmm.
building sets. They're not the artists, but they're in there with the unions, and they're in the business, and they're the ones who are making it or opening up jobs, who are getting and keeping these jobs, and that's sometimes when we look at being a filmmaker, like you said, what are the jobs? Like, do you realize, if you're not in the electricians union, if you unplug something on a Philly film set, the whole set might, I mean, the whole every crew might walk out because you
Oh
broke the
wow.
union rules, because it's a union
Wow.
town. And if you're
Mhm.
not a union grip at that, and you're an actor or a director or somebody, a PA, and you fool with something you're not supposed to, it's the problem. But that's also the problem, what they say with unions, right? All the red tape is so hard to move, and all these things need to happen, or it can create a slow process. But
And
I'm for unions, so I'm gonna leave that alone.
I'm a little bit of both, but here's why. Because as a beginning filmmaker, you're probably not going to deal with unions. But you still need to understand the rules. You still need to
Mm.
understand regulations. You still need to
Yes.
learn different aspects about it because you might not be able to afford union totally on your first project. You might not get SAG actors, or you may get SAG actors. And if you get a
Mhm.
SAG actor, you got to know what your responsibility and rights are. You
Mhm.
know, and that's what it really comes to.
Well, you
And
can't
some
get a
places
SAG
are ran
actor if
by
you don't
unions.
fill out that paperwork,
Exactly. And you're looking at
right?
two different unions. You're looking at the crew union. You're looking at the crew union. You don't need a crew union unless your budget is 1.8 million and
Yeah,
up. And then they have different tiers: tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So there are
yeah.
different tiers of payment in the crew union, which is IATS. I think it's IATSA.
Mhm.
I don't
So
remember.
then, yeah, I think it's IATSA, but you make sure the initials are in the right
Yeah.
order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But SAG, yeah, SAG is totally different because you can get one SAG actor, and as long as you have someone doing the paperwork, the correct paperwork, you're paying the deposit, you're paying the P&H, then
yeah,
um you're able to get a SAG actor. And when you do SAG, like you said, understanding the rules and regulations, because then when you do a SAG film, even if
yeah.
you don't, you can do a SAG film and have a non-union crew, but you still have to have a third-party payroll when you have a SAG film.
Unless it's ultra low budget.
But
Only
even then,
reason,
you can
because
do
that's the
SAG.
stuff that
Yeah.
I've do. Everything I've done
Mm,
so far has been ultra or mic.
ultra
Because even when
low.
they say micro budget, it's still like 100K. And
No,
mine
I
is,
think you can go down like 25,000, 50,000 for, and you still get a SAG actor.
no, that's ultra. But see, that's a
Yeah.
different category, right? So
Hmm.
when people hear like a low budget film,
Mhm.
that's not really low budget. like, that still might be 500K or
Yeah.
something like that, right? And so that's why I said mines have been ultra low, and you got micro low budget. So once you got to understand what category the SAG have for their films to fill out the paperwork. See, micro 50K. See,
Yeah, because
but I've been
mine is low budget, and it's still mine is low budget. I think it's moderate low budget. Of course I have it in the paperwork, but I
Mhm.
think it's
mine. I
moderate low budget, and it's still, yeah.
Yeah, and I think mine was ultra low, and it was for a web series. And
Hmm.
look, he said low
Low
budget up to
budget up
one
to $1
mil.
million.
So when people say these terms and call them independent, right? There's certain levels to even independence.
Independent varies, yeah.
Yeah,
And
Look,
then
now you're gonna make me look it up because I'm low budget, but I think mine is 1.8, and I'm still low budget. Hold on,
yeah,
just a
and
second.
because
Look, I gotta look it up. Yeah.
that Coppola film is an independent film, but it's
right, but he's
120 mil,
120 million. But
right?
yeah, because independent back in the day, we used to connect independent with someone taking their own money, funding it, going through the
Hmm.
entire process. But you can be an independent filmmaker and already set up a distribution deal with someone, and you shoot the film, they take it and they distribute it,
Yeah,
and they're just kind of reimbursing you. Thaddeus was saying like 300K could make you low budget independent film. But again, I think it all varies, but we got to look at what's the trend. Like, are we
Yeah.
going to be aiming for, what are we aiming for? Because I know back in the day, maybe a few years ago, every independent filmmaker was trying to get on Netflix. Then when next thing came was Amazon. Every independent filmmaker was trying to get on Amazon Prime. Right now, the rotation is Tubi.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do Tubi is low. Next tier, Amazon Prime. Then you really did something you on Netflix, because each one's pay scale or payout for your distribution is different. Where Tubi's paying you off the commercial ads. Amazon, you got a little bit of possibility. I think they're moving over to commercial. They have moved over to commercial ads too, but I don't know if they put that totally in their pay
viewership.
scale. Yeah,
Yeah, I have one on there.
Viewership.
Yeah,
Netflix is straight up licensing. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna pay you. Thank you for the film. We're gonna use it for this many years. Have a good one. You know, like so.
but that's because their membership, like Amazon, is the most intriguing streaming service
Mhm.
because it's really free and if you it's for people who already buy Amazon Prime
Yeah.
for shopping, right? So it's a free add-on, right? So that's why it's intriguing to me on how they're putting that together, but it's working for them, because it's literally a free add-on.
Yeah, and that's these are the conversations everybody should be having. That's why the circle of your connections and your network is so important, because as the three of us sitting here, Thaddeus is here. We all know Thaddeus. We know different members who've been on the show and stuff, but we have these conversations in private. We have these conversations as other groups. And it's one of those things. That's why, because I know what Thaddeus, what did we talk about last month? It was before my car accident, because Thaddeus and I were on the phone. But and we were talking about the platform issue, because it's just too many independent platforms popping up and thinking they're gonna get cream of the crop content. And now they're trying to charge ridiculous prices for stuff you never heard of.
Mm.
And so what happens is, and I'm not downplaying anybody's work. It can be great stuff they have, but either their advertising and marketing models are poorly strategized. They haven't introduced them. I'll say this to even the filmmakers and all of us. Even Netflix, when it first introduced its streaming, gave you, I think, 7 days free.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every platform, Disney Plus did it. They gave you like 3 to 7 days free streaming. You can watch whatever to get you intrigued and forget that you subscribed. and get locked in later. And all of a sudden this thing pop
Oh
up on the
yeah.
screen. You paid, and you're like, oh, I didn't cancel. And but then you're like,
You're
okay,
like, wait a minute.
and something comes. But now newer platforms aren't. This is why I said that there's no knowledge of it. You study the platform, study what they're doing. But I think the mistake is they keep copying without studying.
Well, but here's the other problem, right?
Mhm.
They're late to the ball game.
Mm.
Like once you follow, like when trends and streaming start setting up, you can't come in too late because people have cornered the market. Like the only thing that Tubi did was take stuff from filmmakers for free. They took it almost any in the beginning to build it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as they
Yeah.
start getting more submissions and other things and adding shows, and they started adding old TV shows and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like where else? What could you do different than any other platform now to make me decide to go? But it's
I know.
besides saying I'm black.
Right. And I think that's the greatest mistake.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of black platforms that are still doing what everyone else with a Netflix, a Tubi, and all of them are doing anyway. And they've been around longer and people are familiar with them. Black and Sexy TV, Brown Sugar, All Black, Quale. Like people are already familiar with them. So
Mhm.
I would subscribe to Quale TV. I had Brown Sugar. But some of the stuff, the things that set a lot of people apart was stuff that you couldn't see anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that's where you gotta have the money to pay for the licensing if you're an independent, because if I can't show my my streaming series anywhere else but your platform, I needed something up front because I can't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
And it's building your business, which is still a smart move, but you got to have the finances to get in the game.
And that's sometimes a struggle. And that's
Right.
why we instead of like sometimes you got to think about the business. Like they gotta have to be enough creators. You got to have
Mhm.
enough dope content to pull people's eyes, because that's what all of the bigger ones do. Even if people complain about Fox, right, and
Mhm.
and the Tubi, and I get the political thing, but if you look at Fox, right, there would be no Living Color if it wasn't for Fox,
Right.
right? We can sit and what else was on Fox or WB?
Sinbad
Living
was on
Single,
there. I can tell you all the
Shoot.
black shows. Living Single,
Okay.
Sinbad.
All the old
Um,
ones. Was one
right?
on
So
one.
so so now let's think about. I get it that they benefited from us, but look at how many people were able to take that and move into a whole new direction,
mhm.
right? And
It,
that's
it
what
was
we were
became a
talking about.
win-win situation.
Rock,
Yep,
yeah.
rock. Yeah, and so now
21 Jump
we
Street with its
so now when
diversity.
we're in the
New York
situation we're
Undercover.
in with Tubi and streaming, how do we leverage, right? Follow, like you said, following these trends, looking at them and understanding who our market is, where do they go, and how do we eliminate the friction point um, of getting our film from concept to in front of people's eyes. And I think that's the main thing, is thinking about how do we do that and what's happening. Like we were talking earlier, and what you said, Asians are the largest group of people streaming movies.
They've
Oh
increased. Well,
wow.
no, just using social media and streaming movies, period.
Yeah.
Just using the whole platform thing, they've increased.
Yes. So like
Wow.
And so it's not us. So we're sitting here battling ourselves, talking about, well, where are all the black people? It's not us that are have increased streaming, that are hopping on our phones, sitting watching stuff. And as a teacher, I'll just be real. My students be like, if I can't watch it for free, I don't watch it. And they go to those sites that got free movies or they shouldn't be looking at. And
Exactly,
I'm
Bradley.
explaining to them like
Exactly.
that ain't the way to do it because you're in media and this is how you hurt your business.
yeah, but all my like I'm in the chat, and one of my friends is like, "Oh, who's cracking my Amazon stick, my Fire Stick?" And that's what they do. I had a person I know, they had a whole media server in the house, right?
What?
And they had a media server. They had 4 of those boxes, and each of them was wired to each TV in the house, and they all had the cracked Amazon boxes. And you
Shut
sit back,
up.
what can you say? What because this is self-preservation. People don't, when we talk about capitalism,
Mhm.
right? Finding out how to not pay the most amount of money when it seems like it's getting out of hand is what people are going to do.
Yeah, that's why I say Tubi right now, and this is what I was thinking while we were all talking. For a black platform to come out, they would have to pretty much clone the Tubi model of having commercial ads run between their shows
Mm-hmm.
and their films, and that's where they make their income.
And get some old content, license some old content somewhere that black folks want to see, like Good Times.
That's my mama.
But
Yeah,
it's
you find the nostalgia stuff first,
Yeah.
and then start building in the independent. And then while you have the nostalgia and independent rolling, you're now developing your own content.
Yeah.
Or hiring people to develop content and that's exclusively on there. Like there are things that you can only see on Tubi right now.
Yeah.
You know,
and Bradley
and everybody's doing it.
You see, I agree with Bradley 100%. You got to put his comment up there.
Oh, I did earlier, but go ahead and read it.
It says, what it says, we got to use them like they use us. Point blank.
Mastering the game. I had a friend, Dr. Donahue too, who was setting up. He was working on a platform for years, and that was the biggest thing, is raising the money to get the licensing for the TV shows like you guys are talking about. And he went through that whole process of working on that for years to get it done. And he's in the TV industry in LA. So he has the connection, has been, I don't know how many years he's been in, I want to say a couple of decades at least. He's been in the industry. But that was the biggest thing, is getting the funding to license those shows like you guys are talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was his biggest hurdle.
And you got to understand, it's not going to be cheap, but the funny thing is, if it's done right, you'll grasp an audience. You got to think about what people can't see right now, right? Yeah. But then why they can't. You also got to know why they can't see it, because there's some there's some content that's going to be in limbo because you got 2-3 companies battling over it of ownership, right? So when you understand that,
behind the door,
huh?
What was it? The coon behind the door,
the spook that sat behind the door. Yeah, I mean, the spook that sat at the back door.
Yeah, the spook behind the door. Yeah.
I mean, somewhere I have that film. Like, okay. And if
see,
you've been to Philly, you can pick it up somewhere.
On the YouTube. You can find it on YouTube.
It is on YouTube now. Yeah, I think you can see it. But no, we got it on like video or DVD one time.
Yeah. And the one thing I like about Tubi, right, is if we can watch Soul Plane, we can watch all those other movies on Tubi. You know. The spook who sat by the door, yes.
There you go.
Thank you, Thaddeus. I'm always
what's the name was trying to remake that or redo it?
Who?
Dude from Empire, Lee Daniels.
Oh, okay.
Wanted to redo that. And everybody, see, look at your face, and that's what everybody knew who seen the original was like. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel Lee Daniels. Everybody touts him, but I don't feel him.
Everybody can't touch everybody's work. I think that's a clear indication of some things. Like that's like Star Wars when they did what was the middle one after Force Awakens, and they brought in a different director that just ruined it.
Yeah, you know? She's gone, and they still have that. They still have that lady at the head of Star Wars too.
Yeah, I mean, so like, and that's a business trend. Who do you put in charge to garner this to bring in? Because it's very important. Like when you're independent or not, independent people got to understand you got different departments. You have to have different people a part of your strategy who are good at what they're good at. You hire a publicist. You get a marketing team. You do like these things are very important, and like we're not budgeting in our minds for it or thinking about it.
Even if he was, even when you, because I have a movie I told you on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to do our own marketing.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? You watched it?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Oh, thank you. Was it good? Did you like
it? It was interesting that you guys picked the period piece. So, and I know that's the challenge, trying to pick the period piece, trying to make everything, the wardrobe, the hair, settings and stuff. That is the most interesting thing, because it's hard.
So
Yep, that's hard.
I'm gonna say, as our piece that we decided to make, and it took us a while. I didn't want to make the piece, not because it wasn't well written, but because of that challenge. I figured we could do something cheaper and easier, but the motor behind it was like, this is what I want to do. And I have to give him his credit. He drugged that thing across the finish line without 2 legs. Both legs fell off. Arm was gone. But he drugged. I have to give it. Atif Lanier shouts out. But and that's the other thing too. We have to market. And so when we're talking about it, it's not just thinking about the trends, but thinking about their process, right? Until you get it, because we got to promote it. If we don't promote it, nobody watches us. We don't get paid. So it's not just getting it on the place. It's about how do you.
Thaddeus put it out there. People don't know the difference between marketing and advertising.
And break it down. Since we're not going to skate over it, break it down. What is the difference between marketing and advertising?
So, well, I always say marketing is how are you reaching your audience, right? Who's your audience? It's understanding your demographics, your audience. It's understanding the strategy in which you're going to use and placement for what you're getting out for your advertising. It leads to your advertising. But marketing
is the
happening.
research.
Yeah, marketing just doesn't happen because I throw up a trailer on some social media. Marketing happens because I send out a hat and a t-shirt to somebody. I send a flyer out. I get an email list. I studied who I do a survey. I write some people to watch my movie and have them fill out a survey to get a response of who liked it, who's into it. But I should know most of that before I even do it. Like, is this movie for women? Is this so when I'm developing a movie and I think it's for women, right? This is just key. I'm gonna go to some advertisers. Who would I go to advertising if I got a movie for women? Right? And I'm talking about women issues or something.
Yeah. Marketing is the strategy or the how I do it. Advertising is the what things I'm putting out, what pieces, or like, is it a flyer? Is it a trailer? Is it, right?
It's the audience perception of the product, right? How they see it, right? Is it viable?
Yeah,
right. And that's the thing. Advertising happens because of your marketing. Advertising, and also it's not just advertising and marketing, it's public relations. Like if I'm going to talk about cancer in a movie, and that's a big deal in my film, I should be connecting with all the different fundraisers and societies and going out, helping. I'm building from that. I'm on the YouTube channels and Facebook pages of these people who are dealing with cancer. And because it's in the forefront of my film. I don't know the leverage I have with something like that. Well, I do. I know the leverage I have because my dad has cancer. I have a brother with cancer, friends who are currently dealing with it. And so if I made a movie about it, I could tell their stories in some way without hurting or harming them in a sense, but to show the impact on a family, a community, and but it is nothing new. Like, it's impacted lots of people. But now you tell a story, right? Sometimes cancer is the subplot of a film. You know what I mean? Like Origins. I think her cousin got, I don't want to give up too much. But if Origins, it shows up. It shows up there. It's there for a second and it's gone. Like, it was something, but it wasn't big. It wasn't it wasn't a major plot. So, so that's what I'm saying. All right, let's see right here. Thaddeus said, back to strategic partners that can help you deliver the messaging, right? Cancer societies can help you deliver the messaging. You got that audience already built in if you tell the story right.
Yeah. And that's why theme is important.
Yeah. And that's why you got to break your film down. I think with independent film, I just want to make it about this. Well, who's going to connect to it? Who's going to, make it about that, and boom.
So TK, you're the writer and you've been quiet today. how do you
Sorry,
incorporate
TK.
those themes and stuff, even though you got like a situation like cancer?
You said, how do you incorporate it?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you just tell the story you're going to tell, and whatever's part of that story. So, like if you have a cancer thing, if you have a story on cancer, like me personally, I just don't come up and say, "Hey, I want a cancer story." If
Mhm.
I have a story that God's given me and it's fleshed out in my head, then I know it's time to write it. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't have and then the tidbits that are in there, like I'm trying to think of one. Trying to think of one where I have added something in there. Um, Look, I have to go through my Rolodex. Sorry,
Can
guys.
we take one of
I
your
have
projects? Can I take one of your projects and give it a marketing for it?
absolutely.
The Blood.
Okay, the blood.
It's
Okay.
about a family tracing their family history, their experiences. You can connect that with a company. I'm not saying what any company specifically, but you can do that on studying your heritage, your family traits, connecting,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your roots. You can connect that depending on where you film it. Let's say they film it in North Carolina, South Carolina, somewhere. Then
Mm-hmm.
you can connect that to a documentary plus the community, because you can use it as a tourism aspect as well by
Mm-hmm.
showing the beautiful areas around it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's factors you can, and like I said, the family tree, right? Things like that. That's where filmmakers need to be thinking, like, okay, who can I align with? I didn't want to say any
You don't want to
specific
say which
name
one. I did
status.
23andMe
Yeah,
and found
yeah,
out I was 22% white. But
right.
anyway,
But that's what I'm saying. Those companies could
yeah.
utilize those films and put their product placement within those films, and boom. Because let's just be real, that's the point of movies and TV shows, is to sell something.
Mm-hmm.
In the television world and in the film world, Coca-Cola is not sitting in Transformers for no reason. Like,
Right.
it is not sitting in a Marvel movie for no reason. Their Dodge cars are not in Transformers for just to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. Every time you see an iPhone in a movie, it will never be with the villain.
Exactly, because they make or a computer
Oh
or the
yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You can't. That's the first thing. Even locations, because that's the first thing my burger joint asked me. They were like, "Is there anything in here that is going to make us look bad?" And I was like, I had to switch up the line. I had a funny line in there, and I had to switch it up because it was about the burgers and their taste. So I had to switch it to where it was
Mm-hmm.
the customer being wrong versus the establishment being wrong, so I wouldn't make them look bad. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, yeah. So all of that stuff comes. It's so many little things that come into play.
Yeah. But that's where you can tie your branding in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Mike was getting at. That connecting their film to those companies by tying those things in and understanding how they are able to branch off and they relate to bring the
Mm-hmm.
money and create those strategic partners.
And I'm before we do our lead out, every industry is hurting right now. I'm going to show you an industry real quick that's hurting. McDonald's. McDonald's prices have rose so much that they've lost their cheaper customers and a lot of customers, because that's usually the cheap food. So it's not cheap no more. They're willing to bring back a $5 menu. And here's the funny thing. Guess who's willing to partner to offset the cost?
Who?
Coca-Cola.
Oh wow.
Because they sell their products.
That is why it's so important to have a strategy and understand your partnerships, because you can leverage it and you're bringing back something, and you're getting people back into your restaurants and stuff.
They
That's
used to
why
be
we
cheap
study
with real food.
this.
Now
What you
it's
say,
a pressed patty. You don't know what that patty's made out of.
baby?
But if you think about it, if you're a filmmaker and you can take it back to, go to McDonald's for a cheap meal, I'm not saying that, but you can put a McDonald's in your film, because
Yep.
they're trying to find ways to leverage and bring an audience back. That is your responsibility too, because you're part of their advertising.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that something as simple as that. That's why I say why is it important that we as independent filmmakers pay attention to all the trends as they're happening? But why should we subscribe to business marketing books, podcasts, things that don't have nothing to do with film, but they do because everything impacts film. Film is in everything. Media is in everything.
Right.
We are everything. I'll just be real. Media is the truth teller and the lie teller for society.
Yeah.
And so you got to
right
decide
about
what
that.
side you're on. You know, are you telling the truth? You telling a lie? You in the middle? You just trying to get some dollars out of people? You know, like, but that's the reality.
Yep.
So, well, all right, let's do these 60-second jewels. What you got? What's your message?
Ladies first.
So I'm going to go back to Bradley's comment about the trends, getting ahead of the trends. A lot of times, like you said, a lot of times we're too busy following, trying to catch up. But if you get something, if you got something that's dropped in your spirit or something just dropped, you are probably creating a trend and don't even know it. So go with your gut, and you don't have to follow the masses or follow the status quo just because everybody is doing it this way. Do it the way that you've been led to do it. And that if that's starting a new trend, that's starting a new trend.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'll say filmmaking may seem overwhelming, but act like Nike and just do it. See how I got that in my commercial?
Just do it.
Next thing you know, we be getting phone calls for, can we advertise during the Black Filmmakers Lounge? Is there a possibility?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm open.
Bradley, you are so correct.
I'm open to dropping a few movie trailers during the Black Filmmakers Lounge. You gotta pay for it, but I'm open to drop a few trailers for independent filmmakers, you know. But I'm just gonna say this. You gotta sit down at a table and talk to the right people. And people who are going to challenge your thought process. Because out of those challenges and what I mean by challenge, I'm not saying negatively or anything. I'm saying, why do you think that way? Ask you the questions that are going to drive you. Ask the driving questions that are going to help you come up with solutions. And also the team that you'll work with to make solutions or create solutions to move further and propel your part of the industry forward. It's not a competition. I don't know where people are locked into. We're competing all the time. We're not. I watch Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime. I watch them pretty much any of them if they have something I want to see. So they're logically in competition with each other, but they're technically not because you're going to watch them, right? It is what it is. So in that, connect with your circle. Talk with your circle, strategize, marketing. Before you do the film, how can you market the film? Where are you going to market it? How are you going to push it? And then the two things you think about before you do your film, your marketing and distribution. Those are two things you should think about in the first place. And that's my, 60 seconds. Also, our slogan, as always, be strategic, intentional, and authentic.
Yay. Yeah, I got to find a marketing firm. Yay.
There you go. So thank you for joining us here at the Black Filmmakers Lounge. I'm Michael Melvin, with Tamaya TK Henderson, Jacoby Simmons, and we are your team for the Saturday morning and the industry shop talk. We enjoy hanging out with you guys this weekend. We will be on vacation next weekend for several reasons. It is Memorial Weekend, and Jacoby graduates next weekend.
Yay!
So my boy is going to be sitting with me.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael Brown, M. Legend Brown. He is actually filming right now, I believe. I can't think of the movie. God dog it. I believe he's filming right now. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Thaddeus, Dr. Jones. Thank you, everyone who I could not see and those watching on the replay. Thank you, guys. And don't forget, if you have any topics, any guests, anybody, anything that you want us to touch on, we've been on. I talk when me and sorry, I'm stuttering. When me and Michael talk, I'm like, Michael, we've been on for over 4 years, and we've talked about, I would go, did we talk about this? Or did we talk about that? There's so many topics that we've covered Like we let us know, because we think we have covered everything. So now we're just kind of going with the flow in regards to things that are popping up, like the talking about media and marketing and advertising, and the flow of the trends of the platforms, etc. So please let us know, because we do believe we have covered everything.
We do,
So,
until somebody says something, and then all of a sudden, like, yeah, we need to talk about that. Like last week,
exactly.
Jacoby said, was a black film. Like, we didn't really dive into that before. So, but yeah, let us know. Like, subscribe, share, tell people about this. Come hang out, join it. Go shoot something on this Saturday. I know it's raining where I live, but go film, go have fun, play with your cameras. Like, subscribe, share. What's up? And once again, Jacoby, congratulations on graduation. We will see you guys back in June. Yes,
Yay.
Next week is a break. So first that week afterwards, we'll come back and say what's up. And maybe we'll talk about some Father's Day movies to watch.
Share. Hey.
All right, y'all. We love y'all. And we out.
All right.
Peace.
Yeah. Like, subscribe in.